Daryl did it last time, so oh, okay. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. Welcome back. I'm your host, V. Bailey, and we are streaming live here with the HBCU Lounge Network. And we're so happy to have you. But before we get started with the show, we want you to go ahead and, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to both channels at V Bailey, and then the other channel is, of course, the HBCU Lounge Network. So you want to go ahead and subscribe and click the bell so that when we upload new content or we're live, that you're able to get those notifications and join us for the conversation. And also, you'll want to share. Go ahead and do that now. While we have a little time before we get too deep into it. Go ahead and click the share button with your friends, your family, your loved ones for this wonderful conversation. And so we are here for the second episode of Love, Marriage, and Partners. And I'm super excited about this discussion because, as you all may know, if you've been following me and my content is surrounded, by relationships, our relationships with ourselves, just lots of tips on, how to be better so that we can show up as our best self in the relationships, our intimate and romantic relationships. And so I feel like it's the next step, as we've discussed, is marriage. A lot of people are seeking to be married. And so who better to learn from than married couples? And so I am happy that we have a friend to the show. She's helped us with our taxes and given me some, credit tips. And so I adore you. And I'm so happy that you're able to join us along with your husband, Bruce. So we have Miss Trika and Bruce Carter. Welcome.
How you guys doing?
Hey y'all, hey V. Thank y'all for having us back, for having me back and having him on.
Yes, I really
Yes.
appreciate it. We really appreciate it.
Yes, for sure. So as we get started, I would love for you all to introduce yourself and tell the people like who you are, your profession, and where you're from.
Well, I am the one and only Drika Carter, right? I am a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an author, a speaker, I'm the owner of Carter Capital, which is the only 24-hour wealth development firm and institute. We offer, credit services, tax services, as you guys know. And I also own the number one tax brokerage, Carter and Associates. And then I have my personal brand, of course, which is Drika M. Carter.
Yes.
And I am Mr. Bruce Carter. I go by Mr. Carter Capital, and I also go by Body Chasers. I am the CEO of Body Chasers. That is a training system. I can help you get right for his wealth, for his health, for his physical, spiritual, all those type of things. I have a Carter Capital Trucking. We have a trucking business as well. We have a rental property business. A lot of different things. We're serial entrepreneurs. It took a lot of hard work to get here, but we found different ways to make passive income.
Yes, I love that. There's a couple getting into the bag and
Yes,
building an empire.
Yes, yes.
I love that for sure. Well, awesome. So I think that's the question that, everyone likes to ask when they, meet, a couple that they admire and they want to know the story of like, how did you all meet? So how did you all meet each other?
You going first? I'm going first.
He has his version of the story, and I have my version. Well, we really met in middle school. I was in the 8th grade. He was in the 7th grade.
Oh,
And
wow.
I don't know. You had a crush on him?
I did. She was too old for me at the time.
I'm like, I can't be playing with no 7th grade.
I liked her since she was in the 8th grade. I was in the 7th grade. Life went on. We have a lot of different life things going on through life, but I always had my eye on her. And once we became young adults, we met each other at my old job, and she came through with her kid. Her kid was 1 year old at the time, little bitty child. and we kicked it off from there. We kept in touch until we was friends until we became best friends,
Mhm.
and we became partners, and then we became husband and wife. And the road to it wasn't an easy road, but we chose to stick together by one another. And we're here today to smile, thank God about it,
Yeah.
and just rejoice over the time that we have so far.
Right.
Oh, I love that. I love that. It's so cute. You like you want to tell your version or
Yeah, tell our
I
version.
mean, it's yeah. So we met in the eighth grade. I was in the eighth grade. He tried to come by my house when I was in eighth grade, and
not just popping
no,
up.
he didn't even try. He made it to come to my house, but I didn't let him in. Keep in mind, I was in the eighth grade,
She left me
so
outside.
I didn't let him in. Fast forward, we never talked until like we from New Orleans, so Katrina happened, and then after Katrina, I was like mid-year through college. Met him at his job, gave him my number. I kind of was playing hard to get still, just like in eighth grade. And then it
I'm
just
keep the
blossomed
same
from there.
energy.
Yeah, it blossomed from there. Like
Yeah.
he courted
Yeah.
me. We became friends. We was homies, we was partners. Like I would hang with his friends, he would hang with my friends, and then it just one thing led to another. We was engaged for 2 years, and then we finally been married for 9 years this year.
8 years, 5 months, and but
I love
we
it.
make 9 years officially.
My man.
12, 13.
14.
Yeah, that's when we got married. 12, 13, 14. But 12, 13, 23. We'll be
Yeah.
9. We'll be 9.
Nice. Well, that's perfect because it brings me to the next question, and that is, how did you know that this was your spouse?
Mm.
For
I
me,
want to know the answer.
I know this was my spouse before it was my spouse a long time ago. Like I said, we come from our background. My mom was married to my dad since high school. Fresh out of high school, they're still together to this day.
Oh,
Same for her mom and her dad. So we grew up from married backgrounds. And I always wanted to like not wait long for me. So once we was together, we was together about 4 or 5 years before me popping the question. But when I asked her, I just knew from my heart, God sent me so many signs because I never had a woman to treat me like this. Now, I am a good-looking man. I done had several different situations, but when it came to her, it was just something that was unmatched. And I wanted my kids to grow up with a loving mom, a loving role model, a leader, somebody that wanted more out of life. And this was before all the businesses started. This was before all these things. So
it was who she is.
yes,
Yeah.
it was really like hard work we put in. But we went by three things we still go by today. We planned, we strategized, and we executed. And we always held ourselves, accountable towards one another when we wanted to do something. So far as purchasing homes, far as just becoming the best version of ourselves, it's a never ending battle when it comes to those type of things. So we're still on the journey to this day, but we're going at a great pace. So thank God for that.
Yeah, definitely. And to like piggyback on that, I feel like I knew he was the one when I didn't really see anybody else. I literally didn't see like even to this day, I still get butterflies. I still love being the submissive wife. Like as independent as I am, I'm still the submissive wife at heart, right? And it goes back to, like you said, our parents being married 30 plus years, straight out of high school and all of that. But seeing that model, keeping a black family together, right? Seeing that model to us kind of shaped us into, okay, we're not going to keep playing this outside, 1 foot in, 1 foot out road. We have to come together in order for our household to be blessed. We have to show our kids the same thing that we were shown when we were younger. And I just knew from there, like the way he treated my kid, the way he treated me, the way he like never let me open up doors. I don't care if it's a car door, a house door, a grocery store. Like he's gonna put while you touch the door. Like
I hate it.
so all of those things, like I saw kind of like some qualities that my dad had, like hard work, provider, protector, leader. Very aggressive. So like, he's a Leo, I'm a Scorpio, so we were kind of aggressive. And that fire made me be like, know what? I like when you tell me what to do. I might not listen, but I like it.
At least I know you will tell me if I decide to. I know that you're gonna tell me.
I'm gonna do it, but not right now.
Yeah. No, but I love that because too, like what you said about how you still get butterflies. And I know that a lot of times, people are like, oh, you gotta be realistic, this and that. And it's just like, but that can be realistic,
Right.
when you have the right one, and what is it? You said almost 9 years, and you still feel that way. That's something that some people believe that wouldn't be happening, but it can, when you're with the person that you're supposed to be with, and you both are saying like, I want to keep showing up, for you. Like,
right.
So that's dope. I like it. So did you know, okay, so that's first kind of like, did you know that this is the type of person that you would marry? Like, does it match the idea of like when you were younger, the idea of like who you would marry? Did you marry?
Let me see. I could start with this one because what you like in your 20s is not gonna be what you like in your 30s and your 40s. I mean, I'm not 40 yet, so I don't know about in your 40s, but in your teens to your 20s to your 30s is not going to be the same. So your type may change, but the fact that he's still my type through all of the different stages. Like when I was younger, I liked a certain type, like dark skin, of course. So I knew I was gonna like marry a chocolate man. That was a non-negotiable. I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Tall. I mean, he's taller than me, so I'm good with that. And I also feel like, I mean, appearance definitely. Right, you got to be attracted to that person, or you can't just go in saying, "Oh no." I mean, it's kind of vain, but it's like you have to be attracted to this person, even if it's their spirit, there's something about them you're attracted to. It's not going to always be physical, but for me, yes, of course, it's physical, right? So I mean, like the type of person, definitely, he was the build of the person. Like he had dreads back then. His presence make another man feel like I ain't talking to his. I ain't messing with his old lady. You know what I mean?
We like that as ladies. We like that. It's like
yes,
don't mess with her.
And so 100% of the type that I would have married. And so now he's clean cut, fade, still. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it kind of can change. Your appearance might not look the same, from
it kind of didn't change,
but it's still
it was your type, like pretty much, it was your type, and not saying just your type, but like, it's like race, religion, like different things that because some people like are attracted to, let's say, younger or whatever or older, and they're like, oh no, like what you were mentioning, to me, beforehand, you might have in your mind like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't date someone who's a little bit younger than me. I'm like, oh, if you're my brother's age, if you're younger than my younger brother, and I realized I have dated people who were like his age or a little bit younger, and I'm like, oh my gosh, but it might be the one.
Right. It might be because it's other factors that goes into it.
Yeah. And so Bruce, I'm gonna still let you answer, even though I know you did because you was checking for her when you was in 7th grade.
But like I said, life does happen. So far as different races, far as different types of females, I done crossed those bridges, right? So once you get that, you have a picture in your mind, a daydream in your mind, like, okay, it can be like this or it can be like that. But when you actually go through those situations and you step back like, oh my God, this is not for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I done dealt with the red girls. We done dealt with the white women, Caucasian women. It was different types of vibes that you done had. And once you actually get that hands experience, you have to step back and see, okay, do I want to deal with this for the rest of my life? And I came into situations and I was like, nope, not for me. Nope, not for me. So you got to go back to what you know. Like I said, you never know what God has for you. But once you find that spiritual connection and you find things that you don't have to look at that connects you to a person.
Mhm.
This woman knows everything about me like the back of my hand. She is like the brain. You know how you thinking something, and she'll say it. I'm like, oh my god, like
It's like, get out of my head.
it's scary
It's
sometimes. So
good, you know.
it's actually scary sometimes, but I'm actually blessed to have a person that knows me like that, that takes the time out to learn you step by step, way by way, how she does, and it's vice versa. So we challenge each other. Like I said, this is my best friend, it's my partner. We do everything together. It's to the point now when my friends call, it was like, y'all could come. It's y'all now because it's never. What we doing, or is we doing this, or is we doing that?
The homies been inviting me.
Yeah, she one of us, so she's always with us. She's always around, and that's vice versa. And like I said, we don't hold each other, withdraw each other from having girl time or having fellas time.
Yeah.
Those times still do exist,
right?
But
yeah.
we just more.
You just prefer each other.
Yeah, we more together, like
Yes.
on all aspects of life, like just having fun on a business tip. Because some people ask us, how y'all work together? Like, oh my God, y'all around each other every day, all day. Y'all work together, y'all in the office together, y'all sleep together, y'all work out together. It's different things of life. But like I said, when you find a partner that is truly for you, you don't want to be around anybody else. You never know how long you're on this earth for.
Person.
Yes, you never know how long you're
your
on this earth
person.
for. So you gotta use that time wisely, and I choose to use it with her.
I heard that. You better go on.
Period.
Say that then. Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm stuck. I like that. Okay, so in what ways? Oh yeah, it's time for this little. But in what ways would you say that your partner makes you better? Drika, what would you say? Like, in what way does this make you better?
I would say he is no holds barred. Like, if I'm feeling down, he's there to lift me up. If I'm feeling up, he's there to gas me up. Like, it's no holds barred. He's literally the person that's gonna push me. If I come up with an idea, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I tap him on the shoulder and I'm like, "What you think about this?" He's not gonna turn over and say, "You know what? We'll talk about it tomorrow." He's gonna jump up, cut the light on, and say, "Okay, let me get my journal and start writing." And we gonna come up with a plan and then pray and then go back to sleep.
Yes,
because it's like we're literally spiritually aligned to where he might already be thinking something for my business, and I might be thinking something for his business or something he could implement. You know what I'm saying? Or we always learning something on different platforms. Like, he's in different groups, I'm in different groups, and he kind of pushes me like, "Wait, what you learning now?" And then we come back to the table and we say, "Okay, so now we got to do this, we got to add this, we got to switch this." It's just the push that I have, even when I don't feel like it. Like those days when you just, you really just don't feel like it, and everybody feels like successful people don't have those days, but we do. So we have those days, and he's like, "Hey, get up," and vice versa. I'm on him the same way. "Hey, you ain't go to the gym yet. What's up? We going tonight?" We always on each other, and so like I would say that would be my top quality of what him, how he makes me better.
Yes, I love that.
How she makes me better. Chandrika Carter is an overachiever. I'm gonna say it like that. It's never enough. When I think that, okay, we're comfortable, she like, you can't get used to being comfortable. You got to get used to being uncomfortable. Just like so many different things that she brings to the table that I'm so appreciative of, because just far as just always having that person to keep pushing you up those stairs. Sometimes your legs don't want to move to get to that next step. She's there to help me lift that leg and get to the next step. Just far as just starting more businesses and starting different things, like starting Alcatraz. We have several Airbnbs. We have a lot of different Airbnbs from state to state to state to state. And at first, it was like, man, it's going to be overwhelming. We're going to have to fly here and fly there. But we learn systems and learn different ways to make all the things automated. And just that better half for her, just showing different ways. Like, babe, I got an idea for this. I got an idea for that. And it's always coming together. And it's all because sometimes I get worried about things because in this world of entrepreneurship, you can make an influx of money. You could make a decline of money. If you don't put the money in the right places, it's on that right spot if it's going to go up or down. And sometimes, even though we're well off, we're blessed, I'm scared to invest in certain things. And she like,
risk it all.
hey, no risk, no reward. It's
Right.
all type of different things that I say, you know what? Let's go ahead and press the button. When we press those buttons, God keeps his foot on the gas, and we just abundantly just happy on all different types of ends. And I thank her on a daily basis. When we go through those type of things and we have those type of blessings that come our way, it's nobody I like high five, B. I love you, thank you, appreciate you, thank you for pushing me or opening up this door, because sometimes it can be hard on an entrepreneur. It goes both ways. Some days she have mental breakdowns to where I'm picking that chin right back up. We're gonna get this, we're gonna get it done. I don't care how long it takes us. I don't care how many more steps we have to take to get it done. We're gonna get it done. So different trials and tribulation on an individual and a unitized aspect brings us to a different level of life on a daily basis. And like I said, in this thing of marriage, I cannot love her to my full ability if I don't love myself to my full ability. So on a daily basis, I start with me on a daily basis. It gotta go like that. I'm aligned just like that. I start with me, then I move on to my family, because if I'm not loving myself, if I'm not in the best shape for myself, if I'm not utilizing myself to the best abilities, I cannot do it for them. So it's just a ratio in a pyramid you have to follow to get these certain things done in a marriage, because compromise is one of the biggest things. If you don't compromise in a marriage, it can crumble quickly. We live in a world of social media today. So you know how easily when the kitchen get hot, they going left and right. And like I said, our parents stick out tough times. Like we're fortunate to both our parents are blessed. Like they all tapped into a portion of entrepreneurship, but it took them a while to get there. And now we're speeding up the process. Our kids have businesses, and it's a different world. And that's what I'm just so thankful for. Just opening up different types of doors and showing our kind that it is possible. We're young Black entrepreneurs that are really doing it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. You can call it. We got a whole bunch of names, but yes. Bruce, I like what you said about making sure that Bruce is together, right? Because and that goes for, both of you guys, especially when it comes to the kids, because you do have to make sure you're doing that so that you can come as your quality self. You're going to be able to help her and vice versa, because you're together. You're not falling apart trying to give, the pieces of you. You're able to, you're solid. And so you're able to be that rock, for her and to pour into her and be fresh and ready to go. And a lot of times that's not really promoted. It's kind of like, oh, well, put everyone else first. And it could sound good. It sounds so sweet, but is it really, and is that really love? Are you loving yourself and loving her properly, and vice versa if you haven't taken care of yourself? So you already know, like, you're not going to be at your best. And so it's kind of like y'all setting each other up for failure if you don't.
In the long run.
In the long run. Yeah. So I love that you mentioned that. That's really good. Let me see here. So what's the question the question is, why did you guys get married? Because there are some people, I know that we kind of were talking about a few different things, but there are some people who, are lifelong partners, right? So what made you guys choose, like, no, we want to go ahead and go through with this and make it official?
I mean, I feel like it has something to do with our spiritual upbringing. I feel like we knew that marriage is the foundation built on, trust and knowing that you're going to be with this person, quote unquote, forever. A lot of people don't take marriages forever anymore. And I feel like you said earlier, people just throw in the towel at the first sign of a trial or a tribulation. But when you stand before your family and before God and or whoever you serve, right? You saying for better or for worse, for richer or for poor. Most of the time, you poor before you get married, right? So don't act like you was coming in it for richer or for richer. So we thought about all of the things that marriage is and what it looked like for us, not just based on what our parents did and not just based on what our friends did, because we're 30 in our 30s and we have friends that are divorced, right? So we saw that in our 20s and we was like, I don't want to be like that. So what do we actually want? Like, we don't have to sit down and put it on paper to see what we want. We need to talk about it and discuss it. And we discussed it, and that's what we came up with. And he surprised me actually with the engagement. But before that, we kind of talked about it, but never really, like, I didn't put pressure on him. Like, you got to give me a ring. Like, I don't feel like, that should be the thing. As far as women go, like proposing to men or, all of those. I don't think, that's the thing to do. I feel like y'all should be in a committed relationship, committed to each other and the end goal of marriage, right? And what it is that your future is going to look like. And I feel like we talked about that in our 20s and, stuff like that. And then he proposed and I went with it.
Just coming from a Christian background, like I said, just a Christian background, like, it's steps to doing the things right. And I wanted to do it in a rightful way. And just for as, like, I feel like it plays a different part. Like, we got married young, right? And we're still building our wealth. So for some people, if you come into a situation with a lot and the other opposite comes into with a little, now you're being a little bit resentful and thinking about it 10 different type of ways. So for us, we were still at a growing point. She was still working a job. I was still working a job / going into entrepreneurship as we met. And I just felt like if we're going to do it, we're going to do it together. Like, we always saw togetherness. Like, that played a big part for me. Just looking up to my dad, like my dad, my mom was in a house with all boys and men. Like, my dad, 3 of my brothers, it was just her. And to see how he did for her, I was like, man, that's my role model. One day I'm going to do that for an individual. And fast forward, now I'm the only man in the house with all women. So I have my lovely wife. And
it's like, you want to do that? You get to do it multiple times.
And it's just
3 times 4, whatever.
It's crazy how God shows you different signs in the mirror, and just for us to actually make this real decision for ourselves and just to keep each other uphold in this situation, because I'm not going to say marriage is easy. We went through a lot of ups and downs. We went through a lot of times where we easily could have been broken apart, but we stuck together in those times, and I just felt like that's what made us stronger to this day. So we know what to do. We plan 10 years ahead now. So it's a whole different world when it comes to, us being married. It's like nipping things in the bud. That's what I call it. Nipping things in the bud. When one thing happened one time, it's not going to happen again. Right. So we're going to learn from it. We're going to make a solution for it, and we're going to move on from it. But just being married is an awesome thing. I wish everybody would consider being married, but the world that we live in today makes it not cool. And I don't want it. I don't want individuals that, if you are thinking about getting married, make your decision on what's going on in the world today. You have to make
marriage is what you make.
Yes, you have to be 100%.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right before we got married, she was in her hot girl days, still in her hot girl days, and I came to her and said, what are we going to do? Because how you sometimes when you're growing up and she's in her top prime days, I'm in my prime days, so I'm feeling like I'm that guy.
You're like, I'm gonna be fine forever.
I'm that guy, and she like, I'm that girl, and it was a masculine relationship at first, and we both had to really step out and just focus on us. You know what?
Yes.
I'm focusing 100% on me. Let me get me together, because sometimes in a relationship, what we do, we point the finger. Well, you doing this and you got a whole list of things to come back on this individual once she call out something. So what I do, I said, you know what? I'm going to look myself in the mirror. I'm going to get everything together about me. Because see, people don't see what you do when you're by yourself, right?
Right.
You
right.
know what you do on you know what
Exactly.
you do on a top level to a low level, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You know what you're doing in your heart. Sometimes you know what you're doing in your heart is wrong, but you
Right.
still choose to point that finger. Sometimes you gotta
Right.
look at yourself in the mirror and get yourself all the way together before you make that vow. And that's
Yeah.
what I did. You know, I know it's coming up, but like that's what we had to go through counseling and everything before we got married. So
Yeah, I think that's very important.
it was a big deal for me because, you know, like I said, we had a lot of different things that could have easily broken us up. And I'm appreciative that she said okay to it, that I said okay to it, that we choose to work on ourselves individually before this happened. And I just felt like that was the actual piece to the puzzle for me. Because instead of because I used to point the finger. I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to. You know, and then she was come right back with her little pages and her little lines. But at the end of the day,
well, what part for that, Bruce? Where was that little change? Because I think these days I think there's a lot of fear, right? People want to get married. They want partners. They don't want to be alone. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like people make you feel bad about the lonely part. You can't make your decision solely off that you're lonely, but we have to understand that God didn't make us really to be alone. Like, you know, I mean, just in general, anybody, even like, you know, we need physical touch and all those things, you know, babies won't survive. They don't have, you know, that physical touch and those things that soothe you so that you know that you're going to be okay. Because otherwise, you know, you won't feel like moving forward because you'll have this crippling fear. So there's so many, you know, things that say, yes, you know, you do need someone else. And, you know, that fear there that you may not change, you know, like if we're having this problem right now, we're gonna always have this problem. And that's not the case, you know. We see that for people who've been married for a long time and they're just like, yeah, in the beginning, So what was it that made you say, you know, let me stop, you know, pointing my finger at you and really look at the mirror and work on myself? Because I think that a lot of ladies, and women are like this too, but like a lot of ladies are waiting. They're like, well, I'm gonna go to this class. I'm gonna go get this, read this book and do all these things to see how I can change, transform. And then their partner, their man is not, you know? Yeah. And so what made you, you know, where was the shift? Like, how did that happen?
That shift for me was in fear of losing them, just overall. Because sometimes, you know, us as men, we could play a lot. You know, we have a lot to bring to the table financially, but everything else is just on the back burner. So sometimes, like, men try to control women with money, try to, you know, do certain things that, oh, I know she got to stay for this. You know, never mind what I'm doing in the streets, but I know you're going to stay for this. And this is a person, an individual that makes her own money. So when the playing field is even, you can't use these type of tools
to
control a woman.
Participate.
So now I'm truly in fear of losing this woman, and I'm asking myself, like, okay, how I'm gonna fix this problem? And God just kept telling me, fix you. And so, I'm gonna be honest with you. At first, I ignored it. Like, nah, it can't be me. I'm Mr. Perfect. I can't. Nah, like me. But
you're like, am I the drama?
That don't even sound right.
I actually had to really, you know, turn the page and actually look at myself in the mirror. And it was a lot of different things that I felt like I had to get in line with myself before I can even come back to the table. Because now, and then I was at the point to where I didn't care what she was doing. I didn't care none of those things. I wouldn't, you know, some men look for things, none of those things. I'm focused 100% on me. And once I did that transformation, she just started, wait a minute, I see him doing things differently. I'm not telling him nothing. It was months, years. I'm not telling him nothing, but I see it. So once this individual started seeing what I was doing, guess what she went to doing on the other end, fixing herself.
Because it makes you feel that is like it's the things where a person doesn't have to say something to you and you see the actions. It's like, oh, this person loves me for real.
Mhm.
Because why else would they do it? Like, why
Right.
else? Because when you're by yourself, you don't have to look at yourself. You just like, I'm pleased with
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
You know, because no one's around to tell you, like, no, you're not that wonderful. You know,
Yes.
you acting up, you know. But when you're with someone and you say, you know what, like, I could do some things better, you know, like, so I'm showing up the right way and I'm proud of me, right?
Yep.
Right.
And then you see, like, people teach you. That's another way of how they teach you how to love them, you know, because I think about some people who I love and how they make me better just by the way that they show up and the way that they're a
Mhm.
friend to me.
Mhm.
And then it makes me think like, oh, I'm kind of raggedy. Like, let me step my game up, you know, because I see them, you know, like stepping it up, you know, all the time. And I'm like, oh, I could do that too. You
Yep.
know, like
Right.
I
I could
want to
do a
do
little
that
bit
too.
better.
Yes, because you do that for me. So like, how can I not? Like, how can I not want to?
Right.
You know?
We was just talking about that too.
Leading by example, like we're the ultimate compromisers. Some men feel like, women should do this, should have the house clean, should cook for me, should do this. It's times in the day where she's overly booked and busy. I'm gonna catch the slack. Sometimes I'm booked and busy. She catches the slack. So you gotta know each other's strength points and know each other weaknesses and help each other out on those aspects. And
Right.
like I said, we learn from each other, we build from
Mhm.
each other, and we develop different things from each other. So just knowing your spouse and knowing what works and what don't work can help you guys out a lot. And another thing we do on a daily basis is have uncomfortable conversations. It
Mm.
can be year 1, year 8, year 9, year 50. We're still going to have uncomfortable conversations because you never know what this individual is thinking.
Right.
I'm not in her mindset.
Yeah. Well, would you guys say, or, you know, Drika, what would you say that are some of how have you guys overcome like trials within your relationship? Like, what are some things that you guys have had to do to overcome? Like, what's helped you overcome?
Um, I would say communication has helped us overcome a lot
Mm.
of things because, like I said, like both of us had hot tempers, and I don't think communication was our strong point in the beginning.
Mm.
But as we grew and matured in our relationship and in our own, came into our own, we decided the reason for all our problems is we don't really know how to communicate. Like,
Mm.
you talking at me, I feel disrespected, or I'm
Mm.
talking at you and you feel disrespected, and we're not communicating effectively with each other or listening to respond versus listening to comprehend what it is that the other person is saying or the expectations or stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
like, for example, when you in your 20s, most people don't think about, oh, I want to be dated like this, or I want to have this. Or you have your dream life in your head, but you're not
Mhm.
coming to the table on the first date or even months down the line saying, this is what I want you to do now in order for you to continue dating me.
Mhm.
You're not doing it, right? So
Mhm.
that's a
Right.
part of the uncomfortable conversations. Like, okay, what are you doing with your money? Like, how does your credit score look? You
Mhm.
expect me to marry you going in blind, not knowing nothing. No, we need to go sit down with the bank. We need to do joint accounts. We need to
Right.
practice what we're getting ready to do.
Right.
He's a big splurger. I'm more saver, right? But it's like, when you start making more money, it's like, well, I want to do all the things
Like, I got
you,
it.
right? I got it. And my friends, come on, friends. We got it. It's like, we don't have friends today. We have
Right.
we
Oh
got
yeah.
bread, we got cardinal, we got all of these things, right? But that's like younger side. But I feel like that's an obstacle that most couples or relationships or even married people don't discuss is finances. And it's like
Right.
probably the number one reason outside of infidelity of the reasons people have divorce.
Right.
Coming
Absolutely.
into it, you being one way, that person being another way, and y'all never communicate about the real stuff. Like, finances is the real stuff. Y'all got to talk about who gonna pay the bills, how we gonna pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not a lot of bills, we need to talk about that too. Like, what are we going
Yeah.
into? Are you gonna buy me a house? Or are we buying a house together? What are we gonna do? Like, how are you gonna be that person I need you to be?
Yeah. Nope, that makes complete sense. Did you want to add to that, or we're gonna go to the next one? I know we're getting kind of close to the hour, but
Oh, we good. We good.
oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm with you. I just lost it. Something popped up on the screen. So, and Bruce, what would you say is that? Would you agree with Drika on what what helps you guys overcome those trials within the relationship?
Yeah, communication is key.
Mhm.
Another thing, just being honest with yourself, just being honest with
Yeah.
yourself, knowing and just really identifying your true self, your true you, knowing your weakness points and knowing the things that you had to fix. Like I was a big spender. I like
Mhm.
nice things. I
Right.
like to pay for things cash. Like
Yeah.
I
I'm
wasn't,
like,
even though
no,
we
we gotta
had
get
credit,
we gotta
even though
get
we had
credit. We gotta
credit,
do these things
but
the
I
right
like
way.
to like cars and all these things. I'm going to pay 50, 60, $70,000 cash on it. And
Mhm.
she's like, oh my God, why is you spending this money? We could do this, we could do that and still get it done. And
Feel like it's a flex, kind of. It's like I'll
I
pay
didn't
cash
like
for
I
mine.
didn't like bills.
Right.
I don't like
No.
bills. I
It's
don't
not.
like bills. So
Yeah,
just
bills
being,
bills kind of haunt you. You're like, wait, hold
yes,
up, I still got
I
to do
don't,
this. Yeah, I know
and
what you
so
Right.
mean.
I just had to get it out my system. When I first
Yeah.
started making money, I had a bus company,
Mhm.
had a contract with the school board. We had about 8 buses, and I'm making about $30,000-$40,000 a month, and it's
Mhm.
coming in, and I
Yeah,
know I'm contracted for the next couple of years. So
it's gonna be
I'm
there. Dave.
when you first really touch money, you got to get it
Mhm.
out your system. I tell
Yeah,
people you're gonna
yeah.
have a
What
time
the old
where
people say is
you got to
burning your
get it out your
hand.
system. And I got it out my system, and God showed me. He gave me I call it a holy butt whooping, and I lost my contract. I lost my
Oh,
contract, and she had to tell me, "Babe, you got to go back to work." And as an entrepreneur, you never want to take that step back to somebody 9 to 5.
right, right.
So I'm blowing, I'm chest pumping. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I had to swallow my pride and go back to work. And I told myself, I said, you know what? This is going to be a life lesson for me, because once I leave this job and start my entrepreneurship again, I will
Mhm.
never go back.
Mhm.
And God spared. I've been years in entrepreneurship after I left that job, because I had to unlearn or relearn. I had to really
Right,
learn a lot of different things and do it the right way.
right. Be
And
good,
I
good
was
steward.
unknowledgeable. I was
Good
unknowledgeable about a lot
steward.
of things. When
Mhm.
I first got into this business, all I was looking for was a check. I wasn't trying to use OPM. I wasn't trying to do a lot of different things when it came to making the money, because I
Right.
know I bought my buses. I signed my contract. I know I'm getting paid this X amount, and I was living as such. And I'm
Mhm.
blowing 20,000, 30,000 on a monthly basis. Everything was paid, but I'm just like, okay, everything gets paid. It's time to play. How I
Right.
want to do it. I'm taking this trip. I'm buying this car. I'm buying this. And
You
she like,
like,
look
I
at
feel
you.
like I was being responsible. Like I don't owe nobody.
He looked at me like, what is you doing? And God showed me in a mysterious way to humble myself. Now I live beneath my means, even though I
Yeah.
know I can do it 10 times. I live beneath my means, and
Right.
I'm
Right.
going to
Right.
do
With
that for
that.
the rest of my life. And
Right.
that's a choice I had to make, and that's just something you had to learn from. Because I tell any person, when you come from a 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship and you really start making a bag, it's going to overwhelm you in ways you didn't believe. Just going
Mhm.
to tempt you to do things that you never. We live in a world today. What we doing? We scrolling. We looking at everybody else
You like,
wins.
Bora
We
Bora.
looking at
Let's
everybody
go there
else
tomorrow.
wins. We looking at everybody else wins, and we not looking at the fumbles, because nobody shows you the losses of the fumbles, right? So
Yeah.
we end up, I can't wait till I get able to do that. And once I was able to do it, I did it till I overly did it and did it out the money. And I had
Right.
to go back and really,
Build
really
back up.
rejuvenate myself, really learn different things to keep it, because we all can
Mhm.
make money, but who want to keep money?
Right.
Exactly.
So that brings me to my next question. What would you say? What is something that are myths or secrets that no one told you about marriage?
marriage is going to be unique. Nobody could describe the type of married to place you're going to be in physically.
Mm,
What marriage is for you may not be marriage for me. What
mm,
marriage is to my parents might not be marriage to her parents. It
right.
goes different ways. It's a unique situation you got to go through to get through. So you can take advice from different people or different platforms or different individuals that help you get to that stage. But I feel like it is something that you just actually have to go through to experience to understand the true meaning of being married.
Mm,
And take some pointers from the people that have done it, just far as like going to counseling and having uncomfortable conversations and doing this on a daily basis to where you can actually know this person and know what this person is thinking at all times,
mhm,
because she can have a rough day but come home like everything is okay. And if you
mm,
don't ask how your day was or
mm.
what's going on and just expect it to be okay, she could been covering up and hiding stuff on a daily, a monthly, a
Oh,
yearly
yeah.
basis. And that's going to do is crumble the system
Right.
internal. It's going to
Yeah.
crumble the whole platform internally to where eventually we're going to divide. And that's something
Right.
that you don't want, because you're going to always question yourself like,
What
dang,
happened?
what did I do?
Hmm.
What did
Right.
I do?
Right.
What did I
Right.
do right, or what did I do wrong? And
Right.
that's
And there's a lot of couples, people who are divorced or something much worse, and they're just
Mhm.
like, how did I miss the signs?
Yeah.
And it's like what you said. And Drika,
Right.
what would you say? What are some things that,
Some myths I would say. Most people say it's hard. I always say it's really what you make it. Like we
mm,
prioritize dating, we prioritize our kids, but we also prioritize ourselves. And I feel like that's what makes us such a well-rounded married couple at a young age, because we prioritize family. Like we're gonna have family time. But guess what? We also need to date each other. We also need to, compliment each other and make sure that each other is happy, right? Like, are you happy? Outside of me, outside of being a
mm,
dad, outside of being a father, outside of being an entrepreneur, are you happy, right? Like, is
right,
there something that I can change or make us better? That's what people
mhm,
don't really talk about, right? Or
yeah,
not physically change, not like, oh, you gotta lose weight for me to
Mhm.
like you. Like
mhm,
that's not the things that people, that's surface level stuff. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that the real meat of the marriage people don't talk about. And I feel like communication and consistency is key. Like it's
mhm,
never been years in my marriage where we wasn't intimate or we wasn't dating or we wasn't having fun. Like even just when we just chill and watch movies, like sometimes we would, let me tell you, we literally would get dressed.
We old people.
We would get dressed,
We
go to
old
the
people.
restaurant and be like, you want to just do takeout and go home and eat in the bed? Like literally got dressed up, day makeup, the whole nine, and
great,
still be like,
great,
what you want to do? And he'd be like, what you want to do? And we really only wanted to go back home and get in the bed and eat our food. Right? But we know it's date night, so we gotta get up
right,
and go out and do something for each other.
right,
But that's
right, right.
date night is non-negotiable, and it's not like a set night. Like we go out on dates on Thursdays. It's hey, date night is tonight. It might be Monday this week. It might
Right.
be Saturday next week. It
I
is
love
just a
that.
priority. It's not a
Yeah.
set schedule of dating. Like it's robotic. You know what
Keep
I
it
mean? We just
spontaneous,
gotta do
people.
something. Sometimes he
Keep it
might come home
spontaneous.
with basketball
Right.
game
So you're
tickets.
not like, I'm bored. It's like, well, you can't be bored.
It's date night. It's
Right.
Tuesday. No, we don't want that. We want something like just. It doesn't matter if it's a picnic in the park. It's something. It's time with you. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
me getting to know you on another level, and I still learn something new about my man every single day. My husband.
Yes. Yes. Well, I have one more question
Okay.
before I let you guys give some advice. Um, that question is, what about your marriage brings you joy?
I mean everything. Like
Joy.
what? uh,
This is my soulmate. This is my best friend. God has blessed me with a great woman. She's the top of my life. I am really appreciative of her. I love the ground that she walk on. Um, this person makes me better on a daily basis. This person holds me accountable when I do it right, when I do it wrong. So
Mhm.
you want somebody at your side that who's going to push you, who's going to not be comfortable just with a normal you. You always have a
right.
different level to get to. If you don't utilize that, then you know it's shame on you. But I have a person that's gonna always push me all the way to we can't go no more. We gonna be rolling in wheelchairs together. I got it for you.
You're rolling over here.
Gonna be rolling over here. So guess what? This is the person of my life, and I am truly blessed to have her, and I can't thank nobody but God.
Literally, like I said, everything, like the physical aspect, the mental aspect, the emotional aspect. Like I said, when I'm down, he's like, we got it, we got this. Yeah. Whatever you need. If you need a day off, relax, lay down, don't get up. Like if you need a push, get up, let's go. Get on the treadmill, get on the stairs, 1,000 steps. You know what I'm saying? Like he's telling me everything that I need to hear, even when I don't want to hear it. And I feel like that's what I need. Like he challenges me as much as he cherishes me.
Yes.
And you know, that's what I would say I'm most grateful for.
He challenges me as much as he cherishes me. I like that.
Hey, when you see that on Amazon, buy it.
Okay, I will. Y'all just let me know. Send me the link. That is awesome. Oh, well, last question before we get out of here is what advice do you all have for young couples or just even singles, who want to get married one day? What would be your advice to them?
I would say 3 things. 1, go to counseling. 2, communicate with your partner. And 3, I would say make sure your relationship or your marriage is what you make it. Literally, like you can't go off of anyone else's blueprint because it's your marriage. So you never been married, you never been in this marriage before, you never been, committed to these terms of this person before. It's not the same as dating. So a lot of times people say, whatever they're doing while y'all dating, that's what they're gonna be doing when y'all get married, because people mature and they change and they grow. So it's not always the case. But if you're not communicating that the things that person is doing while you're dating is not acceptable to you, then it's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna roll over into marriage because you never told them, hey, pop on the hand, just like kids. Right. Any relationship is like that. If you have a friend group full of yes men saying, yes, you're always doing good, you're always doing great, and never tell you when you're wrong, the moment you're wrong or the moment when somebody else tells you you're wrong outside of that specific friend group or relationship, you're going to feel like everybody's under attack on you. So you have to definitely communicate with that person, and y'all on the same team. Don't let nothing outside noise interfere with what y'all have going on.
Yes.
I'm going to say, start with you. Make sure you're totally in line with yourself, truthfully, spiritually, mentally, all the way straight up. And then make sure your partner does the same thing. And then we could go by our 3 things: plan, strategize, and execute. And those things will get you through a lot in life.
Amen. That was good. That's good. Well, I definitely want to give you guys an opportunity to, go ahead and plug your business again and like your social media so people can follow you off. They want to just follow you guys and find out more about your business, any services that you provide or any events that you have coming up. So if you guys can share that right now.
Absolutely. So you can find me on all platforms at Drika M. Carter. That's DRICKAM as in Mary, CARTER. And also my business page, Carter Capital PLLC, on all platforms like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, everything. And we have our Wealth Development Summit coming up in Toronto, August 3rd through 7th. It's our 4th annual Wealth Development Summit where we teach you wealth strategies. It's about taking a break, and it's also about building your business. So we like to show people how to enjoy the fruits of their labor as entrepreneurs, as well as the next steps to growing your business.
www.cartercapitalpllc.com. I am Mr. Carter Capital. That's on all platforms. And if you're looking for a trainer virtually, in person, I go by Body Chasers. So that's on all platforms as well. Thank you so much, Ms. V, from having us.
Yes, of course. It's my pleasure. I'm just thrilled. This is a lovely conversation. There's just so much just good stuff, to think about. Some of the stuff that, you hear things one way, from some folks, but what makes me so passionate about this is, and I'm so glad that I'm doing it, because I remember when I was a little girl, I was just like, one day, I'm going to, help people who are married, or
Right.
people who want to
Right.
get married, like, stay married, or, get some tools so that they can be successful. Because in our community, we're lucky that there are a lot of people who are married, but there are a lot of us who come from, like either, a single parent home or a blended home or
Blended families,
whatever,
right?
whatever that may be. But they're still not getting, those tools necessarily. You can come from a 2-parent home where your parents stayed married, but because you never really seen
Love,
exactly
affection.
love or affection, or exactly how they were doing it, or having these conversations, with their kids, then they grow up and they just think that they're going to have this wonderful relationship, and they don't
Right.
even realize like the work that was put in to
Right.
make it happen, and why you shouldn't quit, that you don't have to just quit. There's some tools, there's some things that you can do to stay together, and for your marriage to actually grow, and you guys actually grow to better people within that marriage as well.
Yes.
And so I'm just happy that it's come to. I'm like, oh wow, it did come to. I mean, I was saying I want to do it with my partner, so that part hasn't happened yet, but I'm
It's
doing
coming.
it right now.
We're praying for you. We're praying for you. God got somebody.
Yes, and I will be thrilled if we can, do that together, because I just think it's awesome when you're, aligned not only spiritually but also like just passionate about the same thing, so you can really
Right.
support, each other and have that shared, vision. So
Yeah.
yes. Well, thank you so much. And to the audience, thank you so much for joining us. And we will be back, in 2 weeks. And so we'll see you then. Until next time. Good night.
Have a
Good
blessing.
night. Thank you.